supplies practitioners will be going for an election. KISM undergoes a period of 3 years where we elect our leaders who are supposed to spearhead our professional body for the next 3 years. A number of promises have been given, manifestos have been launched, and accusations have been made. It's an opportunity for us to interrogate, review, and analyze some of these manifestos that have been presented to us. But again, myself and my colleagues that I'm going to introduce, we are not an island. It's a case of choosing what is right and what is wrong, and allowing you to choose what is right and what is wrong. Could be right, we could be wrong. That is your choice for you to make. Today, I'm joined by two scholars. They are going to introduce themselves so that we dissect the manifestos that have been presented to us, debunk the hearsay in our view, and set record straight that will make you to make the right decision in the forthcoming elections. Join me as I introduce my colleague.
My name is Dr. Charles Chama. I'm a licensed member of the Institute, Kenya Institute of Supplies Management. I was formerly a practitioner in supply chain management, but now I went to lecture the next few weeks regarding the elections of the Institute. So these elections are a requirement of the Supplies Management Practitioners Act after every 3 years. So our previous elections were held in January 2020. So the 3 years is now over. So we need to go to another election, a series of elections, which will be held mid-January. So the previous council, we had a previous council, just as per the requirement of the Act, SPMA Act. We usually elect 6 members, council members, and a chair. So the previous council, which is going out in the next few weeks, the chairman was John Karani, who is also contesting afresh, wants to be the chair again. Then there was Nimo Mohammed, a council member. That one has dropped out. We also have a lady from Kenya Revenue Authority. She was called Grace Morichu. She has also dropped out. She's not contesting again. The rest of the council members, Jeremiah Nthusi, Diana Macharo, Omondi are still in the race in the coming new council. And then there's also one council member who has upgraded herself to the position of the chairperson, Dr. Apopa. So these elections, after every 3 years, as per the SPMA Act, they must be conducted. So we are now there. In these new elections, mid-January. So this is the history of the previous council, and I'm saying some of them still they felt so sweet, so they want to continue. And I'm saying one of them has in fact upgraded herself from just a mayor council member to now a chair. Thank you. You introduce yourself, but like the person has mentioned, candidate here in the previous council, let me call them the current council, and they're also going for the second term. They're seeking second month for the election for them to serve us. They take us through these elections. How are they looking like? And you've seen manifestos. Are they just or they are just information? You not say they are good manifestos, but they are just that are constipating. They think they have information, but some are just hearsay, like we say, hot air. Take it over.
Okay. Thank you. Now, Dr. We have candidates who are vying for these elections this year. Tell us about them and how do you see them? Wametosha unga ama bado?
Okay, thank you. We have 3 candidates for position of chairperson, and then we have 21 candidates for position of council member. For the 3 candidates, the chairperson, we only need 1 to be the winner. And then for the 21, that is for position of council, we need 6. First, I'd wish to commend them for giving themselves to members and then seeking for this position. It's not easy to give yourself to leadership. For the chairperson, it is factual that top 2 contenders are John Karani and Dr. Apopa, and then Geoffrey is a runners-up, I can be able to say like that. He's not a strong contender because when you even look at online engagement, meeting members, having foot soldiers to rally behind him,
going out,
selling himself, selling his agenda.
Amesema agenda ni mbili.
Really, but the top contenders,
agenda mbili bado hatujui, hata mimi sijui. Najua agenda ni mbili, but I don't know ni gani na gani.
Yeah, it's true. So for the 21 candidates, there are others I even don't know because they have never appeared before members. Online you rarely see them, but there are names that are always being said. For example, those ones who are at the council previously, Moses, we have our brother Jeremiah Ntuzi. They are really coming out very, very strong. Then we have one who was in the council, still she's running. And then we have newcomers who are really putting a very good fight. We have our brother Muhammad.
Yeah.
He's a young gentleman from the marginalized communities. Actually, he's really coming up strongly. We have other candidates, ladies. We have Sirindi, we have Mary Ann. So both of them are coming so strong. What we expect is that as we progress and when we are going to voting, they can be able to be voted in. Yes.
So in the council members, you've talked about the ones that are coming out so strongly. Who are the new candidates that you feel they are coming out strongly? Putting aside the former, those who are in the council, in the previous council.
I love a bias, but truth be said, for example, somebody like Sirindi, she's really trying.
Yes.
Somebody like Mary Ann, she's really trying. Somebody like Fidel, if I'm able to see him try to penetrate the social media space, the fiscal space. I believe those are people I can be able to say that they are really trying.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it means, in as much as you are a former candidate, it is not an assurance that you are going to get a position.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Because one, when people voted for you in the year 2020, were in a camp, and people associated you with the team, they didn't per se vote for you, but now they know who you are.
Diana.
For example, Diana, she's a very good example. She has not come out strong whenever we have events. Even in the past, those claims that she has never attended the events. There's a time I was with her in Mombasa.
Yes.
And members, so many of them came to the forum. I expected her to have a leadership, for example, during that forum. She was just there, members of the secretariat who were really struggling to provide their solutions.
Which event was that?
It was a training on standard tender documents for small works.
In Mombasa, how?
In Mombasa. Yeah, so...
Are you saying she was an absentee?
A present inactive council member.
She was present, but inactive.
So you see, this is a member event. Then you need to stand out to be giving solutions. Yeah.
So, Daktari,
Yes.
What do you think would have necessitated uh, uh, Council Grace and Nimo Hussein to maybe choose to not to vie for the second time? Of course, yes, you can say, mimi nimetosheka, I can go home, but what do you think would have necessitated that?
Yeah, these are two council members who stood in the year 2020. They were elected into office, but I believe maybe they have seen it fit not to contest. They feel that they have given enough to the institute. Yes.
Now, just like you said, it's true. There's some council members that even me, I don't even see them. Adan Hassan Noor, I have not even met him. At least I've engaged Council Maroba. Maloba is coming up strongly.
Yes.
Marianne is coming up strongly.
Yes.
Jennifer Shirindi, like you say, they are coming up very strongly. Purity Kanini is coming out as the Toto of the institute. And don't be shocked if you find her. Where do you place her, Purity?
The unfortunate thing is that in leadership, you don't vote somebody because you are young or you are a man or you are a lady. You vote for ideas and leadership qualities. I wish her the best. For Maloba, I wish him the best.
Yes.
But one thing that I believe is that if somebody is absent during the campaigns, be present when he assumes office.
Yes.
It's an impossibility.
Yeah.
So let's elect the people that we have seen, because we know that they have given themselves into leadership, and then they can be able to commit themselves to be available.
Do you know there's someone called Dennis Ovikdos? Dennis Ovikdos.
It sounds like, that name.
That's
sounds,
one of the candidates,
like one of the candidates, but I absolutely have not heard from him.
Should they just step down? If you look at the schedule of Kism, there is a period for candidates to step down.
Yes.
We would encourage them to step down so that we concentrate on the ones that are actually serious in vying. Anyway, we have come to the end of that bit. We want to very fast get into the manifesto.
Yes.
And like we've said today, members, we want to handle one of the manifestos. Then in our next series, we are going to handle the other manifesto. Then we will touch on the independence. We'll have 3 series of this before the elections are done.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Omai. Dr. Chama, we have candidates, 21 of them, starting from the chair position, who are 3, and then the additional, I think there are 21. Can't remember well now. What do you think about the front runners? Because even me, in my view, I can tell there are some that either they just came for the sake of vying, because we don't see them coming up as much as the others are coming up to look for the votes. What do you say about the candidates that we have this year?
Thank you, Arembi. So there's some peculiar behavior I've personally observed with regard to the contestants, especially those who are recontesting for the second time. So if I can start with the 3 who are vying for the position of the chairperson. So we have John Karani, who is the incumbent chair. Then we have a council member, Dr. Vincentia Popa, who was a council member but is upgraded now into vying for the position of the chair. Then Rotich is a newcomer. So you see, these 3 contestants, aspirants, all of them have their manifestos. But what is peculiar is this, especially with regard to John Karani and Vincentia Popa. Excuse me. So you see, John Karani, being the incumbent, looks like his manifesto is very clear. John Karani wants to build on what he has done for the last 3 years. Now, what is very, very peculiar is on Dr. Vicencia Popa, who was a council member, but now upgrading herself to vie for the chairperson position. So you see, it looks like Dr. Apopa has a manifesto, yes. But what's peculiar is this, looks like she's now trying to spill dirty linen about her chair, and trying to put that, or try to
discredit in a way.
Cook that into a manifesto, crediting your incumbent chair. I'm not saying this, but this is politics. Those things happen. But it will be very, very good if she could just build on her own promises, other than just discrediting or attacking the incumbent chair, who was her chair in the previous council, because they were in that council. Together. I'm saying with Rotich is very, very clear. Rotich is a newcomer, so Rotich is just selling his manifesto. So this is the peculiar, what I've observed, that peculiar behavior. When it comes to the three who are vying for the position of the chairman, the chairperson. Now, with the council members yes, I've said earlier, we also have some council members of the previous council who are also vying. There's Jeremiah Nthusi, there's Diana Macharo, there's Omondi, and there are those three. Nthusi, Diana Macharo, and Omondi. So you see, in these elections, looks like people have formed teams. People have formed teams. The SPMA Act does not say that you must contest as a team member, but it's natural in elections is expected. So there are some teams which have formed. So there are some council members who are contesting for the second time, who are also trying to portray some peculiar behavior, attacking their colleagues, discrediting their colleagues. Maybe they see it as the best strategy to win votes. And I don't think it's the best. Is the best thing. Just come up with your own manifesto, promise the members what you want to do for them, then let them decide. Other than coming to fight your colleagues who you were together in the previous council. So this is what I was observed with these elections. That element was not there in the 2020 election, but this time that value is so much this time round. Okay. Especially coming from those who are in the previous council. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Daktari, today we want to look at the manifestos and also the candidates and what they are promising. Yeah. And I would like us today, let's touch on K3 manifesto, yeah? Okay. The aspects that they are promising us. If you look at what they shared with us during their launch,
the launch of their manifesto.
The launch of their manifesto, yeah? They shared a lot. And I'll give an example of one of the candidates. Let's play this video for our sister Joy Njao. Let's see, let's look at this video.
With a small story. It's actually a parable. It's called the parable of the lost son. So, Mama na Baba Kism had 2 sons and many daughters. And the firstborn son was called public sector. The younger son was called PS, private sector junior, and many daughters. And these 2 sons worked with Mama and Baba Kism at Kism Towers. Kism Towers was a family business. But then, public sector was given more responsibilities. almost 70% of the business he would manage. The younger son, less than 30%. He was feeling discouraged, like he's not important, not involved in strategic decisions. And he went to Mama and Baba Kism and told them, I think I will go to London, to the CIPS University, because here I don't feel like I have any role. And Baba Kism, Mama Kism, they thought, okay, it's fine, you can go. But then remember to come back. So private sector went to CIPS University in London, did many, many degrees, FCIPS. But then it's almost like the parents forgot about him. No one would reach out and find out how he was doing. Only Mama Kism would talk to his son and say, son, how are you doing? We need you back home. But son would say, what about Baba Kism? Does he want me home? And she went to Baba Kism and asked him, you forgot our son in the US, in London, sorry, in the UK. Can we bring him back home? I'm sure he has a role to play in our business. But you know, Baba Kism is very busy. He's at Kism Towers signing checks, going to Mombasa for a training, standard bids. And Mama Kism would ask him, but you're not a trainer. What are you doing in...
Joy is giving us a story. Joy is giving us a story of private sector, public sector, Baba Kism, Mama Kism. Baba Kism in this case is Karani. Mama Kism is Apopa. She's telling us that she went out as private sector because Mama Kism was not taking care of her interest within the country. How do you see this particular candidature and the private sector approach? Because if I look at both sides, let me use K3 as an example. K3 has 90%, let me say 99% of public sector practitioners. Only Joy is the only private sector candidate in that in K3 team. Yeah? And she's telling us that it is only in K3 where her interest or the interests of private sector are taken care of. If I look at Team JK, that is Jenga Kism, we have how many candidates who are in private sector? We have Karani, private sector, Marianne, private sector, Omondi, private consultant. So where can you actually tell us that Team K3 is where your interest as a private sector practitioner are well taken care of? Maybe share with us the candidature, yes, on that, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I've looked at the manifesto of Joy Njau. But you see, Joy Njau seems like she doesn't have a manifesto of her own. Other than clinging or riding on the manifesto of K3. Because sincerely, private sector procurement in the country is not really much regulated by, say, National Treasury, but of course, most of them are members of KISM, So, if you listen to Karani, and the amendments they had proposed of the SPMA Act, I've heard Karani saying that they factored in those amendments something to do with the
private sector.
how the private sector
will be incorporated.
It shall be incorporated into the
SP,
mandates
okay.
or the realms of Kism.
Yes.
And I believe that was a push of this gentleman you've talked about, Moses Omondi.
Yes.
Because Moses Omondi was in the private sector.
Yeah.
So I think it's very, very conversant.
The private sector
with
practice.
The private sector practice.
Yes.
So probably he's the one who came up with those amendments.
Yes.
To bring in very, very deeply the private sector practitioners.
Yes.
Into the realms or the mandates of KISM.
Of KISM.
So going by the numbers, definitely. Not even numbers, because we are saying Omondi was in Omondi, who is a council member, who is a member of the council, which is now going out, and was also in the private sector. So Omondi is in the team of Karani. Is in the team of Karani.
Yes.
So if it was me, I would have been wiser to just work out with Omondi, who was already in the council, and who already proposed some amendments
Yes.
on how the private sector can be brought in
Yes.
very, very deeply into KSM than going to K3. So Joy was better. In my view, was better in the team where Omondi is, than in this other team. Because this other team, their chairperson is Apopa, who is head of procurement in a parastatal. Dana Macharo. Dana Macharo is also a procurement practitioner in a public entity. We have
Tingos.
We have Tingos. A public sector practitioner. We also have Mwema, a public sector practitioner. So there she's just alone. I think she's just alone.
Is it that she was just added to bring the
maybe? But I'm saying this other team of Karani, already somebody has done some work on private sector procurement. I mean, Omondi.
You've been training for some time.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Joy in any training platform?
No, Joy, I've seen her for the first time in these elections. In these elections. But I'm saying on her own, she's very, very weak on her manifesto. You see, don't ride on a team. Yes, ride on a team, but it's not a guarantee just by clinging on a team that you will be elected. So she needs to do some work
to go
about herself. She needs to go out and sell her own ideas, what she wants to bring into the council if she wants to win.
I happen to have engaged Joy in we discussed, and I noted there are a number of things that for one reason or the other maybe she's not privy to, and without fear of contradiction, the of Kism, and you realize, one, she has limited knowledge on public sector operations, and number two, she has very limited knowledge on SPMA, because the people that she's running with have not taken time to enlighten her on what to go and share out there. If I look at Fidel is a young guy and is coming out a little bit more knowledgeable on public sector issues and also the SPMA. However, Joy is appearing as one person who was either brought in to fill the gap of private sector, so that we don't say that completely private sector is not taken care of in K3. But that is the fact. Right now in K3, 99% of them are public sector practitioners, and only Joy who is coming in, whom as a matter of fact, I have never met her in our trainings. I have never seen her where she attends her trainings. I don't even know how she renews her memberships and her licenses. But I know we always have the internal in-house trainings, which probably for one reason or the other, maybe they have had an internal training at Equity where they get the CPDs to renew their licenses. But that is one thing that we will get to know.
So Ariembi, I think I mentioned this earlier.
Yeah.
You see, those contesting, especially for the council members, there are many, but looks like there are some teams. There are some camps. There are some camps. Now, my concern is especially on those who have been council members,
Yes.
who have been serving, who are contesting for the second time. So if you look at those guys, if you look at those council members contesting for the second time, and are in Karani's team, for example, Jeremiah Ntusi,
Yes.
and Moses Omondi, their agenda is very simply. They are simply trying to tell the members what they have done in the previous council, and they intend to build on that. But in this team K3, there are some, like Mwema, you've talked about Mwema.
Yes.
There's Mwema and Chebos. I've heard them talk, I've heard them talk about the manifesto.
Yes.
Their manifesto. Either the manifesto of K3 or their manifesto as individuals.
It's
as
K3,
Mwema
the
or
way
as
we
Chebos,
understand.
They're in public sector. They're in public sector because I think Chebos is in
Bungoma County.
Is in Bungoma County, and Mwema is in Makueni County.
Makueni County.
But I'm surprised they seem to have not understood even the public procurement legislation very, very well. Because, for example, Mwema, in one of his talks, was talking about he wants to facilitate the creation of employment. And he was talking about, because it's in the county. So he was saying, if the ministries in the counties, so Makueni was saying there are 10. So if every ministry will be allowed to be a procuring entity of its own, with a head of procurement and some staff, then jobs will be created. But you see, my problem is this. That is not a function making the ministries in the county governments to be procuring entities. That's not the function of Kism. That's not the function of Kism. Kism is a practitioner's professional body. Professional body. I think that is an issue. Or Chebos was talking about scheme of service of the procurement practitioners in the county. These are issues of the procurement legislation, the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act, especially Part 3. They are covered there.
Yes.
These have nothing to do with the Kism.
Okay.
So I'm saying there's that lack of understanding. I don't know why they're bringing in issues of, say, PPRA or National Treasury or issues of the county treasury, then you're bringing them as an agenda, as your manifesto agenda for these elections. But so there's that lack of understanding in some of the members in K3, again, which was very surprising yet, even to me.
But you see, they might say that the SPMA provides for the institute to protect and defend the interests of its members and their welfare. Now, when you talk about interests of members, I believe that is one of the things that maybe they are championing for, in as much as it is not explicitly indicated that create jobs. But when you talk about protecting and defending the interests of the practitioners, then that is where he is coming from, where we can use the institute to lobby for these positions. When you are now going there as a professional body to discuss with the county government that now we want our professionals, because the Public Procurement Asset Disposal Act is saying this, we want to ensure that each and every county has procuring entities under all the ministries. But of course, it's a long shot, which they'll need a lot of lobbying, starting from the Council of Governors, going through, or even at Treasury, they will need that support from National Treasury, so that if it comes from the mother ministry, it is easier. But when you only push it at the county level, without having some backup or support from Other ministry. You know, you might hit a very funny ground.
Let me tell you this.
Yes.
I think there was an executive order.
Yes.
Which clearly stated
Yeah.
that KSM is an agency under National Treasury.
The government, yes.
Is a government agency.
Exactly.
Executive number one of 2020.
Yes.
Which clearly said KSM is an agency under National Treasury.
Yes.
Because National Treasury is the custodian of public policy on procurement.
Yes.
In the country. So KSM is there.
Yeah.
PPRA, Public Procurement Authority, is also an agency under National Treasury. There is no problem. There is no problem for. So I'm saying, for example, compliance matters.
Yes.
These are very clearly. These are matters of PPRA.
Yes.
KSM. Is a members professional body. There is no problem for KSM to advocate
for the interest of the members.
For the interest of its members.
Yes.
But the problem is this: some of these aspirants here are trying to pick those matters which are not within the mandate of KSM,
Okay.
And the way they are putting them to members as if they're going to do them. They're going to do them when they join the council, which is not true. That's my only point. But for advocacy, advocating for the rights of your members, that, for example, you see, for example, you cannot advocate for the governor of Makueni to make the ministries procuring entities.
While it's not cutting across in other counties.
Across,
yes.
Exactly. So for advocacy, yes.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, the ministry is this, which can bring concern to the members.
Yes.
You are promising members that you're going to do this, which is not a mandate of KSM.
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying. As they campaign and sell their agenda to members,
Be careful.
they should be very, very careful and draw the boundaries. Otherwise, they'll just be misleading their members.
Wow.
And it even portrays ignorance on you as a
contestant.
As an aspirant. So, for example, the chair of K3, the chair of K3, Dr. Popper is very, very bitter with Section 45, of the Ethics and Corruption Act. That it criminalizes every non-compliance, but you see, I think Popper wants to put on a shoe which is too big for her feet. There's no problem.
Hold it right there. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a short break. And then we get into this manifesto deeply and we look at what each and every candidate is saying. We've talked about our sister Joy. We've talked about Dr. Popper briefly, but we still have the other candidates to look into. Let's take a short break. We are back on the same. Dr. Chama,
Yes,
share with us, what do you see in K3 manifesto kutetea welfare of supply chain professionals?
Okay, because you know K3, they have 3K. They're saying the first K is kutetea, the second one is kuinua, and the third one is kuimarisha.
Yes.
Okay, so Bwana Arembe, you know, a manifesto is a promise you make to your constituency. So in this case, the KSM members.
Yes.
What you plan to do for them to see when they elect you, so that they see the benefits of why they elected you. But you see, a manifesto must be realistic. A manifesto must be realistic. Don't be too ambitious, because remember, this council only lasts for 3 years. Don't be too ambitious. And don't mislead also. Don't give things which are misleading. Which are misleading, or maybe because this is a professional body. KSM is a professional body, an agency within National Treasury. So stick to your mandate. So I've gone through the K3 manifesto. So you've just told me to comment on the kutetea, the first K, where they're saying is about the welfare of supply chain professionals. So, for example, their point number one, they're saying they want to protect members from unnecessary victimization and vindicative criminal prosecution.
How?
So I think K3, they have a history, of course. I was a practitioner in public sector, in the ministries. And in 2 or 3, we were suspended as procurement practitioners. And we were deployed to some other jobs where you didn't even have qualifications. I was a victim.
Yeah.
I was a victim. And it happened again in 2019?
Yeah, 2019.
2019, again, procurement officers
The HOP
went
there.
to head of procurements, went through some vetting.
Yes.
So it's a good ambition. It's a good ambition, and they're saying, but the issue is pursuing that. The issue is how they are going to achieve this, because these decisions sometimes, for example, us when we were told to go home, no, not to go home, but when we were deployed, we were told it was a cabinet decision. It was a decision of the cabinet, and all of us know in this country, the cabinet is the highest decision-making organ in a country. So if a decision is made at that level, I mean, how are they going to protect that? How are they going to protect that?
Like they're saying, pursue amendment of Section 45(2)(b) of the Anti-Corruption and Economics Act, which criminalizes every procurement process in favor of administrative actions as opposed to criminal prosecution. And then they are saying they are going to strengthen peer review through disciplinary committee and encourage the employers to bring cases through the committee. Now, Daktari, in my view, one, you are telling me you want to review the Anti-Corruption Act. And Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act. Remember, this is not the only law that is criminalizing procurement actions.
Exactly.
We have Section 176 of our Public Procurement Asset Disposal Act, where we have the offenses. Now, you know, someone will sit down somewhere and ask you, what is your intention? Does it mean you want to shield your practitioners? Yes. Now, where do you draw the line
between a criminal offense,
and an administrative offense? So that they need to come out clear and tell us, this is where we draw the line. This is a criminal offense. This is an administrative offense. Because failure to draft or maybe to evaluate within 30 days. One, public procurement is very keen on those timelines. There's a reason why those timelines were placed, so that we don't delay on procurements. So these were meant to deter our members from unnecessary delays, and even those who are carrying out these evaluations. So I don't understand at what point are you saying this is administrative offense? This is, to me, administrative offenses are the gross misconducts where you come to work late, where you come to work drunk. But now here...
And who will push that agenda? You see, remember I've said, KSM, that executive order of 2020, it said it is a public entity, it is a public agency, and the National Treasury. National Treasury is the custodian of policy on public procurement. KSM cannot initiate amendments on any matter on procurement without that amendment passing through National Treasury. They cannot.
But here is a point.
So for advocacy, it is about advocacy, but KSM on its own, they cannot wake up, whether you are a strong chair or a weak chair, and pick an amendment and submit on public procurement.
Remember,
and submit it to Parliament.
Remember this one. This is not even our act. They want to review an act under anti-corruption.
Even if it's an act, even if
at EACC,
it is an anti-corruption act, but if it is touching on matters of procurement, you have to go through National Treasury. You have to go through
they first of all have to convince.
So these aspiring members have to understand that KSM is an agency at National Treasury. That must be understood. So advocacy, yes, they can do advocacy. Lobby National Treasury, lobby Anti-Corruption Commission, and lobby another person. But I can tell you with caution, as long as it is on matter of public procurement, it must be done through National Treasury. Then, still on the first K, Roman 2, they say They want to pursue creation of procurement function for each procuring entity. I think all public entities, the law is very, very clear. The Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act, all of them must establish, all accounting officers must establish procurement
functions.
So I don't think, I don't know why this one was put there.
No, this was placed there
as an agenda in a manifesto.
I think it was placed due to the schools, the colleges. Not all of them have procurement practitioners. So they are saying that they are going to ensure that even the high schools, even the technical colleges are going to have procurement units.
Again,
the issue is the how.
This is a compliance issue.
Yes.
Because it's a requirement of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act that all public entities, whether you are primary school or secondary school, you must have a procurement function, and that procurement function must be staffed with professionals, with professionals in public procurement and supply chain. So this is a compliance issue. It's a PPRA issue. It's a PPRA function issue. So the best they can do here. So when they say pursue creation, I don't know exactly what K3 means, but they can simply advocate. Because this is clearly legislated function of PPRA.
Yes.
So they can push PPRA that we want to, and I don't know the PPRA will accept that because Kism will be now turning themselves to be supervisors of PPRA. I don't know the PPRA will be happy with them. But this is a clear mandate. I worked in PPRA.
Yes.
I was employed with the pioneers who established PPRA.
Yes.
And we personally I audited primary schools and secondary schools, and we were telling them that was a requirement of the law.
Okay.
That was 208, 209 there. 209. And I believe PPRA still does it up to now. So I don't know why they're picking it as if it's a mandate of KSM. So for me, that point number 2 is misplaced. That agenda of this K3, I think this is misplaced. And the first one, I think those are tough waters. They must be very, very careful.
I think the first one, I'll put them to task. I'll follow up until when they do
the third
it.
one, the third, pursue all practitioners in the ministries already have a scheme of service administered in National Treasury. All parastatals have their own scheme of service individually for their own staff in public procurement. In the county governments, Part 3 of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act has allowed the county treasury to come up with all policies necessary for procurement practice and processes, including their staff. So these things are there already. Then negotiate a pension scheme with umbrella. All practitioners in parastatals or in public sector, I think they are pensionable staff.
They have pension schemes.
So
it's not a priority.
So this K3, especially their first K, I think they're thinking here they need to sit down and remove what belongs to KSM and what does not belong to KSM. So they want to create a fund to cater for supply chain families in case of hardship, loss of job. KSM is a professional, is a members body. So the aspect of welfare, yes, is there, but you'll realize all practitioners are also members of SACCOs. So those benevolent funds are there in case someone is dead. Those SACCOs already have these kind of things. So if this is what they want to create, they want to create through KSM. I don't think it's a problem because we already now have this one with SACCO.
Yes.
But you can see the membership. The membership maybe is not very.
It's around 200. I'm a member.
Yes. Okay. Then they want to pursue establishment for scale of fees for supply chain consultants and private practitioners.
How is this possible? You know, the accountants tried it and it bounced.
Because first of all, there's a challenge. Because unless you're KSM, unless you are a consultant from KSM, which is very easy for a public entity to procure you, because these are government agencies offering services to each. But if you are to be procured as a private consultant, then that is a procurement transaction. which must go through the competitive
bidding processes,
bidding processes, the procedures. So I don't know that they want to establish rates, just the way LSK has established.
The
So
Advocates
here,
Act, yes.
I think what they'll do, it will just be maybe, and I don't know this because remember even PPRA registers consultants in public procurement. What they call procurement agents. Procurement agents.
Okay.
In various activities of the supply chain. If you want to be transactional advisor in a procurement transaction, you want to be an advisor on warehousing,
yes,
on inventory management, they are all registered by. It's an obligation
of
it's
PPRA.
A mandate of PPRA to register those.
These agents, yeah.
So here they need to work in consultation in liaison with the PPRA when they want to establish those rates. Those rates. It's not bad. It's a good idea. But I'm saying there's that overlap. Other public entities. But most of the promises here, most of the promises in this first K Kutetea, I think they've taken things which don't belong to KSM.
To KSM, okay.
So those they can just ignore.
And they move forward.
Yeah.
Creating a fund. How many supply chain practitioners or families can we take care of as KSM? They're saying they want to create a fund to cater for supply chain families in case of hardship, loss of job, death, and provide a platform for counseling services. I mean, are these our priorities?
This is not a priority. That's what I'm saying. These are things you'll find most likely being done by SACCOs.
Yes.
Okay,
Diana is a good. Diana is a good.
So this dream,
person.
I don't know.
She's pushing for
where
this.
Where did they see it happen? Maybe they've seen somewhere it's being done.
How many?
Because we have other professionals. We have engineers in this country. We have medical doctors in this country.
People lose jobs.
People lose jobs even in those other professions. So when they lose jobs, are they taken care of by their professional bodies?
Yes.
The families are taken care of by their professional bodies even when they.
It is far-fetched.
I think this is far. This is a dream taken too far.
Counseling, we can get counseling.
Counseling, yes, counseling can be done when the member is still on employment.
But your employer has counseling services.
So that's what I'm saying. A manifesto is a promise. You want to the things you want to do to your constituents when you win. But sometimes don't be too ambitious and
so you're saying
unrealistic.
They've told us about professional indemnity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they have it here and negotiate for
professional indemnity
cover. So in the public sector, for example, in the public sector,
yes,
we have doctors, we have engineers, we have clerks,
yes,
we have HR people, and all of them are exposed to risks. I have not seen medical doctors in government hospitals indemnified by the Ministry of Health. I don't know. I have not seen engineers in the Ministry of Public Works or
indemnified
transport because they're also exposed to risks indemnified by their ministries. So
I don't know in your understanding.
I think they need to
clarify.
They need to read the codes. There are various statutes in this country about public servants, and whether these kind of things are applicable. Because we have not seen it.
Daktari,
I've not seen them.
Let me share with you this part. Section 178 talks about a person shall not in his personal capacity be liable in civil or criminal proceeding in respect to any act of omission done in good faith in the performance of his duties under this act.
Exactly.
That means in your practice, you're already indemnified. Whatever you do in good faith in public procurement practice
has
already indemnified you. Yeah?
Exactly.
Like,
as long as you can justify that to the judge.
It was in good faith.
In the courts, as long as you can justify that.
Are we together?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And it's saying, that is 178.2, The procuring entity shall indemnify an employee or a member of a board of procuring entity who is a party to a suit or a proceeding, whether civil, criminal, or administrative in nature, brought against him or her in performance of his or her official functions in a procurement or asset disposal proceeding. It's further saying, provided that the employee or member of the board shall have engaged the services of a private lawyer, or external counsel, and has not been judged guilty of gross negligence, misconduct, or grave abuse of office.
Exactly.
So are we saying that we now want to save ourselves on this other part? Gross negligence, misconduct, or grave, because that is where the Public Procurement Act doesn't come in.
Exactly. And who will they negotiate with?
Yes.
And at what point?
You know, there also
when the officer is being employed as a procurement officer in the Ministry of Agriculture,
who will pay for it?
So is he indemnified there?
Who will,
at that point?
Who will pay for it?
So there's a lack of understanding. There's a lack of understanding, and I don't know why. Because some of these aspirants in this team are public servants.
Yes.
But it looks like they have so much ignorance on how the public sector
operates.
operate.
Okay.
So at what point shall we
indemnify?
When he's being given the employment letter, shall he also be should it be included?
Or as long as I'm a member of KSM
in the letter of employment.
Okay.
Or will it be KSM now? Will it be done by KSM?
Yes.
So I don't know what
they need to. They need to also draw the line.
Exactly.
Where are we actually indemnifying our members?
So I'm seeing some confusion and overlap in these promises, in those agenda.
So are we saying that under kutetea welfare of supply chain professionals, we've only got one thing that makes sense: pursuing the procurement function, which also is an overlap. There's only one that makes sense to us. Thank you, Dr. Mai. The chance is yours. Take us through the K2, where we have Kuinua, governance, financial sustainability, and stewardship.
Thank you. Before I answer that,
yes,
I want to make one clarification with regard to Section 45 of the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act, and this is very important.
Yes.
They have said that they want to pursue the amendment of Section 45B, which is very important. But I want to make one single clarification, and I wish the members understand this. In the anti-corruption war, we have what we call corruption.
Yes.
These are acts that people do willingly. They connive, they make deal, they collude, and basically they are criminal offenses. And then when you look at Section 45, it talks about protection of public property. This one is not concerned with public officers, because the Constitution under Article 260 creates a position called a public officer. It is concerned with public property. So the objective of that section is to protect property.
Okay.
So APOPA wants to repeal that section so that the public property can be misused.
Okay.
You see, that is the essence of that subsection. I'm very clear in my mind. If you can be able to read that subsection, protection of public property and revenue. So if she really wants to repeal that section, public properties are no longer protected. So let's celebrate. Let properties be stored.
So we need to tread carefully. So
APOPA is facilitating corruption through theft of public property, and that is what she wants.
Through cushioning of members from...
she's ready to give members an opportunity to not to protect public property anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
So before you get to K2, let's look at this video of the K3 launch of Daktari APOPA.
For the supply chain practitioners in the public sector, My administration will keep an eye on growth opportunities. We shall pursue operationalization of the scheme of service with the National Treasury, County Treasury, and county assemblies. For those in the private sector, my administration will develop standards practice model to be used across board. We can borrow from our ISPAC brothers. They have standards that they use across board. So for those in the public sector, you find them using the Public Procurement and Asset Disposals Act. But what of those in the private sector? We need, as an institute, we need to be in control of any activity in procurement in this country. We need to have a standard. Accountants have ISPAs, and for us, we also need to develop a standard. And I can promise you that will be done in the first year if you give me the mandate. As I had mentioned earlier, I got to the office. I was given an office with a table and a chair. I was told to set a disciplinary unit. I managed to come up with policies from scratch. And those were 3 critical policies, and now we have disciplinary instruments that we can brag around with, and also we can now tell employers to ensure it is in place. Now developing the model for standards, I think that is a very small work that we can do in a record time. To enhance competency in supply chain, my administration will ensure Kenya Institute of Supplies Examination Board attains autonomy of state corporation and bring up clear linkages between Kism and registration committee in the onboarding of professionals. We will also strive to provide advisory to Kism as provided in SPMA on review of curriculum to ensure our graduates are ready for the market. Once our graduate, they have gone through their internship, they have gone through their attachments and the rest, we need to make these people ready for the market. Because we all understand that what we learn in class is normally different with what is in offices. And as we always say in Kenya, kwa ground vitu ni? Yes. So we need to prepare these people for work environment. And that should be done by Kism. And Kism has the responsibility to do that. So these are some of the things that we will ensure we put in place in the first few months that we get to office. And some of them are very quick wins. CPD programs have been a thorn in the neck of the supply chain space. Having listened to the cries of members and convinced that the K3 promise is the answer. As I said earlier, when we got into the office, I think members were, the kind of change that members expected was a change in the model of CPD programs. And up to now, I want to believe all those listening to me online and those who are present with us here today at Boma Hotel, I want to believe that you will agree with me that the way our CPD is structured is not the right way. CPDs are still expensive. Today there's a program that is being closed in Mombasa, and the cost was 60-something thousand. How many will afford that? There are some people who are not employed. The numbers who are in Mombasa today are many because they want to attain those CPD points so that they can be able to renew their licenses come next year. What of my young brother, my young sister, my young daughter who is in supply chain and is not employed? How will that person attain CPD? You've been in Mombasa for 5 days, you are expected to pay 60,000. It's not workable. But we had a council member who was given the responsibility of restructuring the CPD programs, and he will want to tell us, why are we still where we were? And then you find some of us are still asking, Tatu tena. Tatu tena and nothing has changed. Has something changed? Nothing has changed. So if you say tatu tena, and then we are saying tatu tena for status quo. So let's get ready for status quo, and don't be shocked if next year it will be 80,000, because now somebody is not looking for re-election. My administration wants to give a final solution for CPD programs. And supply chain professionals will not cry about CPD ever if we are voted in. We shall restructure the continuous professional development programs with varied fees and requirements to accommodate professionals at all levels. And this is our promise. We will restructure them in different tiers because we are well aware that we are not equals. There are people in this space who have 10 years, 20 years, and 30 years like some of us. There are people who have just joined the supply chain profession. And there are those who are still struggling to get work to join the supply chain profession. These people, if you go to train them, you must tailor your programs to fit each and every class of professionals. If you go to train somebody who has just joined the profession and has got 1 or 2 years of experience, and you train that person on standard tender document, you are on point. If you train that person on procurement, the small procurement procedure, how a requisition is supposed to be done, some templates, you are on point. But when you want to train somebody who has 30 years of experience and has been ahead of procurement and is still ahead of procurement and had headed like 3-4 institutions, and then you want to train this person on standard tender documents day in, day out, you have lost it. And fellow practitioners, it is time for us to get change in supply chain. The change that resonates with what we want. Let's not go for change as we say tatu tena, and those change, we are on status quo. The choice is yours, and the time is now. We will restructure the CPD into tiers. We'll have tier 1, where we will provide CPD or free CPD forums for unemployed professionals and retirees. We will have tier 2, which involves practitioners with less than 5 years of experience. And this will be offered across the country. We will have practitioners in tier 3. This will be practitioners with less than 10 years of experience. This will help us to tailor-made the training content that fits somebody who has 5 years experience, somebody who has less than 10 years experience, and somebody who is just a fresher. So that you don't go to a hall, and because in that hall, somebody must float. The way our CPD points are structured. You will always float. Either the new entrant is floating or the veteran is floating. We will also have tier 4. Practitioners with 10 and above years experience, and tailor the training that fits those characters. Tier 1 and tier 2 trainings will be widespread across the country and online. Tier 3 trainings will be held in various counties and even online. Tier 4 trainings will be held in major cities and even online. Practicing consultants will be required to achieve a mandatory 6 CPD points for pro bono presentation offered to professionals under tier 1. And that is basically giving back to the people. We have these people who are not employed. We have retirees who still want to be in good standing. Let our consultants who are getting jobs with Kism also achieve their CPDs through that. They give a pro bono service to those people, and we give them 6 CPD among the others that they will get even through a conference that I will take you through. This format will allow for clear segregation of trainings content, training location, and fees chargeable to the beginners, seasoned practitioners, and in the public sector and those in the private sector, respectively. Fellow members, heavy is the head that wears the crown. Leadership is an honor bestowed upon us, and we have the responsibility to fully articulate the mandate we have been given. Today, I'm here to offer my Cape 3 promise, which will bring real change in real time. As I conclude, my urge to the council chair, my urge to be the council chair is motivated by 3 things. 1, the need of a council that is the voice of practitioners, the need to bring the change that members expected, the need to install good corporate governance within the institute.
Thanks. You've seen the video, members.
Okay.
Doc,
Yes.
what do you make of this video?
There are so many aspects that Dr. Pope has really touched on. And one of it is on, for example, creating public sector, a scheme of service. That is one thing. You know, we have been having a problem as a country with regard to remuneration of public officers. And indeed, the Constitution created the Office of Salaries and Remuneration Commission to harmonize salaries for public officers.
Okay.
So I just want to make it clear that as things stand under Constitution, we don't have lawyers, we don't have engineers. Those are basically operational titles. But the constitutional standard is a public officer. And somebody who is to harmonize their salaries is the Salaries and Remuneration Commission. And even that is why you see nowadays trade unions are being put into task with regard to collective bargaining agreements. Because CPS are not anchored in our constitution. Are you saying that?
Okay.
So the only, I don't know how she can be able to initiate a negotiation so that public procurement people have got the higher advantage than other public officers. For the private sector, because the private sector regulates itself, I don't have much to comment on. The second thing that she has said on the video is with regard to creation of Kism. It is so much debasing to the position of a chairperson that she doesn't understand that SPMA, that is Surprise Practitioners Management Act, Section 12, has created an autonomous Kism, which has succession and is established under seal. So she wants to kill that
and establish another one. Remember, Daktari?
Yes.
Through Jeremiah, Jeremiah was a member and a chair of the PSC committee.
Yes.
Which we worked together.
Yes.
And at the same time, Karani pushed for the establishment of Kism. And Kism was established.
Exactly.
And remember, in the past, Kism was under Kism.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was like a department under Kism.
Exactly.
And now it is a dependent entity. And I think it's the 6th floor of towers. Yeah.
With its own board.
It has a board chaired by Dr. Walubengo.
In the last 2 financial years, they have been submitting their financial requirements independently to National Treasury, and they have been given independent budget. And that one she knows.
And they
I really fear because part of her promoters are former council members who never wanted the establishment of Kism.
Kism.
Who were Kism who were Kism. But now when Karani came
In fact, you know one thing, one of the CEOs who is one of her promoters wanted to be the CEO of both Kism and Kism. Yes.
They never wanted autonomy.
Yes.
But now as things are, actually I have section 12,
Yes.
which is very clear, and this is what our brother Karani basically ensured that it is implemented.
Yes.
There is hereby established a body to be known as Kenya Institute of Supplies Examinations Board, which shall be a corporate body, a corporate body with perpetual succession and a common seal, and shall be capable in the corporate name of. You see now.
It is already an entity. It has a CEO, Dr. Fred Ongisa. It has its staff.
So
it is running exams. So I don't know if they are planning to go and relaunch. Wanarudisha mtoto kwa tumbo wa mzai tena.
I think it basically demonstrates that
there's some element of ignorance,
yes,
and
not understanding the SPMA.
That is why we are
basically
here.
They want to kill the institution
and then reestablish another one. That is why we are here, to enlighten our members. We already have a Kism that was formed under the leadership of John Karani.
It has a CEO.
It has a CEO. It has a board, which actually it has been taken to court.
Yeah.
It
can be
sued. So it means
it's a body corporate.
So forget about Kism. Let us focus on other things. Kism was already established under the leadership of John Karani.
I've listened.
Pick the next one.
I've listened to another thing that is called CPD. CPDs are expensive. Sincerely, when even Apoba served under the current council before she has gone to fight for
she's still serving
chair lady position, when they came to office, CPD points for 5-day program were at around
90,000, yes.
90,000. And you remember very well when he came to office, we were supporting the council, of which she's a member.
Yes.
Actually, she never wanted even committees to be there. It is even the other council member, Diana, took pride that she invited SCAC to come and chase
and disband committee members. But in her video, she's saying that committee members were more powerful than council members.
In fact, she never wanted members to own the institution. So members, I really pity, because once they take office, you won't
have an input
to Kism affairs, yet Kism is a member-led institution. So to the issue of CBD cost, it was lowered from 90,000 to approximately
60,000.
Before we went to 60,000, we ran a 5-day program to below 50,000.
We did 40,000.
Within 40,000.
In North Rift, yes.
And then there were input from the secretariat that it did not break even. We are procurement people. We know what we call break even. Break even basically means that you can implement a program where you can be able to pay the bills and then remain with something that can enable you operate. So there was a challenge. And then we had to do costing, and then that cost was rigid. With the hope that COVID was to end, and then operations come to normality, and then costs can be able to be escalated downwards. So we expect, because now it seems like things have become normal, the costs to go down, because makali ya COVID imefanya nini? Imerudi chini. But she's very ignorant also that there are other aspects or other ways through which you can be able to redeem CPD points. In fact, it is possible that under the leadership of our brother Jeremiah, he implemented methods through which you can be able to redeem CPD points even without attending the Kism program where you are supposed to pay. They are free webinars. Actually, when you look at even the next year calendar, which is on the website, which the secretariat has have already uploaded, there are 28 free CPD activities, 28. 28.
28.
Means that you only need like 2 CBDs to you have surpassed it, because there are 24. You have surpassed it by 4.
By 4.
By 4. Are you saying that?
Yes.
So this is a lie. An outright lie.
In fact, you know, we served with you in the PSC committee, where we came up with the CPD policy that they are saying that is not there. The CPD policy is there. However, it was challenged by consultants at the competition authority, where they felt KISM is training and it's not supposed to be training. Let us get these facts together. The data and the records are there. If someone wants to check, you can check with the institute. There's a CPD policy. When we are being told that CPDs are still expensive and it is bleeding, you don't have to go to Mombasa to attend a training for 1 week in Mombasa. You can do a journal on the newspaper and get your CPD points. You can attend training anywhere, even at KSG.
I really wanted to elaborate on that.
Yes. Do that.
It's not only Kism. Kism programs, conferences is one way through which you can be able to get CPDs.
Yes.
5 days that you surpass.
Yes.
4 days 24, 3 days 18, 2 days 12, 1 day 6. There are other options.
Yes.
You attend regional conferences, international conferences.
CSRs.
As long as they are doing programs based on leadership, on supply chain.
Yes.
For 5 days, you redeem that. So you don't need to come to Kism to come and...
You don't have to go to Mombasa.
Save even in institutional DMs. In institutions like right now, we have austerity measures.
Yes.
You'd be a very good public officer if you save your institution that.
Yes.
So we have in-house trainings where you invite Kism to come
and train you.
And then we have short mentorship programs. If you do mentorship, you can come and redeem CPD points.
Yes.
Then we have professional trainings and academic trainings. You can come and redeem CPD points. Publications. We are scholars.
We are scholars.
You have published a paper for your PhD, for your master's.
Yes.
In as far as it has given you an academic advantage, it can also give you a professional advantage. You can come and redeem.
Yes.
You have position papers, legislative, policy analysis.
Yes.
We have peer review manuscripts. If you are a researcher and then you do blind reviews, you claim 2 points for each paper. Reviewed, so long as you can be able to maintain very good data.
Yes.
And then you can be able to present
them
before the council.
Yes.
For the award of CBD. CSR activities tailored to supply chain.
Yes.
Even general CSR activities, you get CPD. So it basically indicates that
there is an element of ignorance or deliberate ignorance, or to arouse misinformation
and disinformation.
Deliberate. Because this was a council member.
Exactly.
And this thing
was passed by the council.
And we did a number of engagements with our members on this document.
Exactly.
It's only that our consultants who took it to the competition. By the way, if you look at what they are saying, that Tier 1, free CPD forums for unemployed and retirees, we have already taken care of that.
So much.
Under the leadership of Karani, we already, and Jeremiah, we already had this.
So much.
Yeah. Number 2, when they are telling us of Tier 2 practitioners with less than 5 years of experience, training will be widespread across the country. How do you want to do a widespread training, yet you don't support chapters? That is what Karani was pushing for.
And you know, do you know what this means?
Yes.
It basically means that there is going to be a lot of discrimination. I can be able to see somebody who is from college as a know-nothing person who belongs to some lower tier. It's like a discriminating case.
Another tier.
You see, SPMA recognizes
a member
and an non-member. So this one
we don't separate or discriminate. Then they are being told practitioners with 10 years and above of experience trainings will be in major cities. Then practicing consultants to achieve a mandatory 6 CPD points for pro bono presentation to professional under Tier 1. Let's make this thing clear. 1, those who offer training right now apart from being paid by KSM, they still get full CPDs for that full week training.
If they sit through the program
Yes.
for a full week,
They get the full
If
CPDs.
they sit for 3 days,
Any
if you make one day presentation, you
Yes.
redeem 6 CBDs.
So, let us not be told stories to arouse our emotions. These things are already there. This is already taken care of by our current leadership under chair of Karani and Jeremiah. Omondi was our deputy chair in PSC committee.
Exactly.
Yes. Now, they're talking about establish annual supply chain conference in which participants will attain 3/4 of annual CPD points upon full participation. Talk about this.
Let me say this. They never wanted even the
National dialogue.
the national dialogue to be implemented. National dialogue, the objective of it is to bring stakeholders in the supply chain practice to talk about the challenges that practitioners face, professionals face, and those ones who seek our services face, so that we can have like actionable plan, an action plan on the things that are implemented. And the good thing is, it is not giving members 3/4 CBDs.
Yes.
It is giving them full CBDs.
Just a minute.
Yes.
Let's see this video. Thank you. This is the chair inviting members to the national dialogue for last year.
Yes.
Yeah. So when they're telling us they are going to have another national dialogue or conference, we have already done this. The chair did this last year. Yeah. Which actually they are talking about has pending bills. Then what are they talking about? If, I mean, let us be fair. Mgala muwe, lakini haki mpe. Chair ali-establish national conference. Let us not lie about that. It is there. And for them, they are giving 3/4, but for us, he gave full. Yeah, full CPD points. And by the way, did you know they withdrew allowances?
Yeah, they
They are saying that it had losses. Do you know, chair told them to only come on the second and the last day. They say they want to be there for the full week.
So they
withdrew allowances for the full week and still come back and tell members.
You are a member of a professional standard. Did you attend?
That thing came from which committee?
It is us. We were the brainchild behind the.
But we went there as
the council.
We went.
Me, I didn't go. In fact, they had sent us away. This is the time SCAC was coming. They never wanted us.
And then we went there as participants, funded by our own entities. While for them, they went with Kism, per diem.
Yeah.
So when they are talking about, Diana, when you're talking about allowances of national dialogue, also take into account yours who was there.
Exactly. In fact, I even attended a conference in Mombasa with Diana, where she was sponsored.
Yes.
And she needed to offer council leadership when we had a crisis.
Yes.
She did not take the body up, not even once. She didn't even give a speech as a council member. And then this is the person who is coming to claim that she was offering leadership. I really want one of the attendees, I know there were many, over 330, to come and even post a claim that Diana stood to
assist the issue that was there.
Yeah.
Wachia hapo. So this one is, to me, it's either lazy, deliberate ignorance, or should I call it to just arouse emotions.
Yeah.
We already have a conference, and that one we can tell them for a fact. Installation of instant self-help portal for member registration, renewal of license, payment of CPD forums, and management of accumulated CPD points. I think what we already know that we have, let's look at this photo. Yeah? This is a photo of members' individual portal. We already have the portal.
Where first, you see, for any system to work, this system, there is a need for human interaction with the system.
Yes.
You can't sit separate in your house, and then automation needs a human input.
Yes.
So the system is already there. So you have to input your data, and then it activates.
Yes.
So there are those things that you do from the system as it is now. And because Team JK promised that it will be fully automated in compliance with the Data Protection Act.
Yes.
Because right now, you know, the Office of the Data Protection Commission, they are supposed to do audit risks. So for every move that you make, they have to audit and then give it an okay. Until now, full automation is realized.
Yes.
For example, one of the institutions, I want to give an example that has fully automated is the Kenya Revenue Authority.
Yes.
Sometimes back, around 2-3 years ago, you used to make an application, for example, for your tax compliance certificate,
Yes.
and then you get it after like 3 days. Then they reduced it to hours. Nowadays, it's
Get it
like
instant.
It's
It's a
because
process.
It's a process.
Yes.
So Kism is a growing institution.
We have to appreciate where we've reached.
Exactly.
Yeah. Councillor Mundi was in charge of that, and we have to appreciate
A very good
where,
gentleman.
very good
We
gentleman.
have to support them.
So the other last thing before I bring in Dr. Chama, they're talking about entrenching corporate governance on council affairs with clear structures on optimizing utilization of resources and communicating. Let's look at this video from Diana and let's discuss what it's saying.
And professional indemnity cover, which includes cover for criminal prosecution, civil suits, and administrative actions for a profession. What we will do, we'll approach various insurance firms. We will get the best cover for you, bring it on board for members, and make it accessible for our members. We don't want our members to go and bail out, to sell their shambas, to go out to Sherlocks when they are facing criminal prosecution, just because of few errors, or even breach of civil liability or negligence in their act, or error on commission, and it faces them and they face a lot of financial problems because of that. This indemnity cover shall protect you against such compensations. You'll be able to pay for your lawyer, you'll be able to pay for your defense cost, and you'll be able to do many other things like pay for irrecoverable fees for you as you concentrate on dealing with your court case or the civil or a civil charge against you. This is my promise on top of our Nunuzi Sacco. The next, they are members, or they are a category of guys who are not employed or who are consultants. So they don't have an employer who pays for them a pension. Yet these guys are going to retire and they will need some pension fund or a lump sum at their retirement. We'll therefore again approach pension funds to negotiate for such category so that we can avail a pension fund scheme for Wanunuzi, for you professions, especially those who are consulting, especially those who are going for private, and for guys like me and you who have moved from one place to another. We need to have our own private individual pension scheme where we can consolidate all our pension as we move from one employer to another. The other day, I was being told, where do you want your pension to be taken by my former employer? And that made me think, by the way, I need to have an individual pension scheme. What if we make this pension scheme available to all our members so that we can have somewhere for all of us to come and consolidate all their pension. As they retire, they get their lump sum or they get the monthly payments during their later years. We are also planning to bring for you, to create a fund for you to cater for the supply chain families in case of hardship, loss of job, death, and provide a platform, and provide that platform. We noticed during COVID time, there were a lot of our supply chain families that faced a lot of hardships. As Kism, the only fund we have right now under Anunuzi is Benevolent. Benevolent Fund is for your bereavement. But we have come to realize that apart from that, members go through a lot of hardships. These hardships, sometimes you need a friend or a fellow professional to tell you, to give you a boost or to tell you sorry. We will come up with a well-researched fund with good policies to know who will be eligible, who will benefit, and we'll have a constitution for this fund. We want to do at least 1 or 2 CSR for our own members during the year. It will be very good for us members to be supporting each other through this fund. Once in a year or twice in a year, we identify these families and we take to them at least something to boost them during this hardship. And this is my dream. Just as I dreamt about Wanunuzi Sacco, I know one day this will be achieved. And us as profession, our welfare will be well catered. Not only will Kism regulate you, not only will Kism register you, but we will care for you. And we have to show care for those who are facing hardship. Last but not least, this week or last week, we had a forward in the WhatsApp group about a guy who faced a lot of challenges while undertaking his duty in procurement. And that story ended with a loss of life. I kept on asking myself, what can we do? But that led me to check on other websites of other bodies, and I came to realize we can have counseling services online in our website. How it will happen? We will have an online. We will look for pool of counselors that you can access online for your mental issues. At times, these mental problems just need someone to talk to you. Why can't Kism, the one supposed to take care of your welfare, come up with such a program, even if, one, it's a pro bono service, or a subsidized fee that can take care of your mental health? We are sent home sometimes. We face a lot of victimization. And as much as other people tell you, usijali, utakuwa sawa, sometimes you need counseling. Sometimes you need to tell someone these stories so that they can give you the best advice. So, if elected, we are going to look for such pool of counselors, make them available to you through our website and through our app, as one of us said, so that you can have these services at your hand. Remember, we want Kism that can tetea you, can inua you, and we imarisha the institute. That is our K3 promise. Kutetea, kuinua, na kuimarisha Kism. But before I finish, I wonder why. I know many people ask me this question. Why did Council Diana cross over to this camp? Yet the other election, I was in the other camp. Why again is Council Diana vying again to become a council member? But before I do that, I would like to tell you my scorecard. When I joined, when I was elected, I was given Audit and Risk Committee, which I led very well, with members like Amina Zara, Robert Kazungu, Omaso, and Timothy Muller. We established the internal audit function as our mandate. We ensure that there is an effective risk-based internal audit system. We employed an internal auditor. We have already approved an internal audit charter. We have ensured that the internal auditor or the internal audit function is an independent function and reports to the committee. And then we ensured that the one who was recruited was very fit for the position and had all the necessary qualification. And all our solution and our recommendation could regularly go to the council. Again, I say, all our resolutions and any material finding from the audit could be regularly be tabled in the council. So we did our work. I set up this committee, first ever committee in the council, and we did it excellently. One of our very famous finding report was the furniture finding. We know that there was a loss of furniture. We gave the council 21 recommendations to be put in place so that we can avoid such an occurrence. Some were being implemented, some needed budget, like for example asset tagging, that they will be done simultaneously when funds are available. This case, however, is with DCI. So by today, I will not be able to tell you a lot about it. It's being investigated. But however, some of the things were not well taken and were not implemented because of interest that we had in the council. Other findings were, we had over a period of 2 years or more, the institute did not reconcile its bank and cash balances statements. And when we kept asking as an audit, as the audit committee, we did not get the feedback until today. Unfortunately for us, the banks, due to interest and due to council members signing checks, this has not been done until today. We have various unpaid bills from national dialogue that was conducted last year in December. The unpaid bills arose because of unprocedural procurements and invitation of professionals who are friends to the event. Until today, some of them cannot be paid because we don't have supporting documents to pay them. Because it was an invitation on a friendly basis by the leadership, and some directions given on booking of the hotels were direct from the leadership. Conference facilities, membership cards, licensing, design, HR consultancy, strategic planning consultancies, and other consultancies worth around 41,159,368 out of a sample of 56 million in 2021 were directly procured contrary to the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act. These are the findings of our audit. And when we kept on asking why and how these were done, there was no answer which was given. But remember, who is signing the checks? Council members and the leadership that you gave them your votes to take care of the council resources, the Kism resources. They're the ones who had their own interests and at times made these direct procurements around 41 million in the year 2021. 15 short-term employees supporting various departments were engaged without authorization from the council. As it is supposed to be in the public sector, public service, short-term framework, this was not done. I personally could bump in Kism and find total strangers who I even don't know where they came from. And this has been happening. The 15 short-term employees have always been given a contract of 2 months, 3 months, and it has never ended. It is always being renewed. However, recently I was given a HR committee, and we gave our way out to handle them. Until today, that recommendation again has not been implemented. There was a recruitment of four short-term individuals engaged in a period of 4 to 6 months, earning a gross of 3.1 million to support, again, then national dialogue, which was done and procedural, to develop our strategic plan, to develop the mentorship program, and this recruitment was not done competitively, or the consultant was not procured. How the audit committee found about this was after doing our audit of the payroll. It's when we discovered that there were 4 guys who are not among our employees, but are paid under payroll. Remember, these were consultants. Ask yourself, how can a consultant be paid under payroll? And it was not just 200 shilling or 300 shilling, it was almost 0.2 million, and it kept on going on until audit discovered it, and that's when it stopped. Annual salary for annual progressive increment for staff was again stopped in 2020 when we got in without approval of the council or without evidence in the variation of the contract or any performance results, contrary to a resolution that was made in 19th December 2016 by the previous Kism Council and the assigned contract. However, when I joined the HR committee, this was approved and the staff were given their annual increment, and it became, they started becoming motivated. There was no documentation on the remuneration framework of a short-term contract. Remember the 15 I talked about? Each one had different pay, different salaries, some ranging from 30K to around 215,000 per month. Everyone getting into the council or getting into the institute on different grounds that council again did not approve. There were various outdated policies and manuals. This one I kept on pushing every other day that Kism has to have the policies, procurement policy, finance policy, HR policies. This was my song every day. Governance, governance, governance. These were not done, but however, in the recent year, the policies have been developed, and that's why I need you members to give me a last chance so that I go in, we do these policies, we leave Kism and our institute in a sustainable way, a way that it will run without interference of the council. Payment of public funds, again, should be supported by pre-numbered payment vouchers or appropriately authorization and documentation. Pursuant to Section 104 of the PFMR Act, however, review of payments revealed that around 753,000 were not sufficiently supported. This is because of unplanned council engagements. You will find leadership of the council will just decide today they are going to Kakamega or wherever they are going to. No invitation, no council calendar of events, it was not even planned. Therefore, such payments, we can never have support of their documents supporting such payments. We need a council that will work and adhere to governance. That's what is our problem that is ailing the institute. Staff receivables that were due to advance made to the staff and interest were not surrendered, but however, during this year, there have been a lot of reimbursement by the staff, and that one is going on well. Again, audit found out that, apologies, okay, yes, audit found out that there were so many uncoordinated, unplanned meetings, and meetings that were not in the calendar of events approved by the council in the beginning of the year. So, some council members and the leadership could plan secretly on their own on where they will attend and where they will go, and that kept on going on. Myself, I could find sometimes photos in the WhatsApp forum of where, for example, our council chair is, and yet that was not even in our calendar of events. This year, as per 30th September 2021, council expenses have amounted to 21 million. 21 million. Yet council members are supposed to sit 4 to 6 times in a meeting. So I kept on wondering where the 21 million is coming from, only to notice that our leadership is always on safaris in the name of Kism Mashinani. And to make it worse, going there to represent us, but when they reach there, they say that some council members, like me and Dr. Popa, and the rest of the lady councils, the ladies in the council, they don't have time to visit you members. I can say it very openly. They were not planned for. We were not invited. And we are not aware of such meetings. We don't want to burn our fingers and get into such meetings where we'll get problems. And we know very well all of us are public service and servants, and we are supposed to take care of the public funds.
this video before I bring in Dr. Chama, who will help us discuss this entrenching corporate governance.
I can be able to say irresponsible leadership.
Irresponsible leadership.
Yes.
Wow.
Somebody who has even failed to put in mechanisms
yes.
That are supposed to be helpful to an institution. And another thing, I see some level of deceit, udanganyifu mingi. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Chama, corporate governance at the Institute.
Yeah.
What do you make of this promise?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Ariambi.
Yeah.
Ariambi, I think I mentioned earlier that there's some peculiar behavior, especially on those council members who are running for the second time.
Yes.
And especially those in Team K3, without fear of contradiction, especially Dr. Popper and Diana Macharo.
Yes.
Diana Macharo, because then Team K3. In fact, these two have shown serious corporate governance failure. Serious corporate governance failure.
Yeah.
Because there was a video circulating in some forum of the members, Wanunuzi, where Diana Macharo was revealing very confidential information, about, not just about the institute, but even about the council deliberations.
Let's play that part for our members.
Deliberations.
Let's play that part for our members.
September 2021, council expenses have amounted to 21 million. 21 million. Yet council members are supposed to sit 4 to 6 times in a meeting. So I kept on wondering where the 21 million is coming from, only to notice that our leadership is always on safaris in the name of Kism Mashinani. And to make it worse, going there to represent us, but when they reach there, they say that some council members, like me and Dr. Popper, and the rest of the lady councils, the ladies in the council, they don't have time to visit you members. I can say it very openly. They were not planned for. We were not invited. And we are not aware of such meetings. We don't want to burn our fingers and get into such meetings where we'll get problems. And we know very well all of us are public service and servants, and we are supposed to take care of the public funds.
Yes.
Okay.
Comments.
Yeah. So you could see that is very, very serious. In fact, there's a serious breach of public service rules, procedures, and regulations.
Yes.
Especially at that level. If you are a board member,
yes,
the public service expects a high standards of discipline
yes,
and confidentiality. And in fact, if it was in some other parastatals,
yes,
that is very serious disciplinary action, because Diana, first of all, is a public servant.
Yes,
is a public servant. But you cannot come out and reveal issues of the board openly to the public.
The public, yeah.
Talking about your chair, and your council member there,
Yes.
So when here they talk about that they want to entrench corporate governance on the council affairs,
do they have?
They should start with themselves. They should start with themselves. Dr. Popper and Diana Macharo.
Yes.
And I can tell you, with this kind of behavior, because this looks like the character of a person.
Yes.
So
it tells you who a person is.
This will continue, even if they win. Of course, I don't see them winning with this kind of behavior. But even if they were to win,
yes,
I think this behavior of revealing very confidential board matters
will continue.
I think this will continue. So they should first of all start interrogating themselves whether they themselves they uphold not just corporate governance ethics or etiquette,
Yes.
or even if they uphold the rules and regulations
Yes.
of being a public servant at some level. These are very, very senior officers, even in government.
Yes.
But you cannot behave that way. In fact, when you see them talking, especially Dr. Popa and Diana Macharo, you're asking yourself, so what were they doing in that council? Were they really members of the council? Were they really members of the? Were they really members of the council?
It brings me to the question:
Did we really have a council?
Did these people go through the Mongozo code of conduct? When, in as much as they are elected by members, they are council members. Once you get to that council, you've been gazetted, you are now a public officer.
Exactly.
And you are now board and operating under the Mongozo code of conduct.
True.
Clause 1.3 says that you must exercise, each board member must exercise highest degree of care, skill, and diligence in discharging their duties. Which includes taking care of your loose talks.
Sure.
You don't just talk anyhow.
And you could see Diana talking in front of the public.
Yes.
Those were members. Those were members.
And I believe.
Not even members of the council.
Yes.
You are talking to the public. You can consider those participants who are there.
Yes.
That audience to be just the public.
And I believe.
Revealing very confidential issues of the council.
There is need for some element of revisit should come in. Now, it's also saying.
Serious and ethical behavior.
It's also saying. Understand and accept the principle of collective responsibility.
Exactly, responsibility.
Yeah.
So
you cannot tell us, like, for me, I did this. You remember Dr. Popper brought to us her individual position on the sacking of the CEO, that is Hedwig Nyalwal, and it was posted on WhatsApp. And when I looked at that, even at board level, in as much as you disagree, there's an opportunity for your distant opinion to be documented.
Sure.
You don't have to come out and go tell staff that I dissented. I mean,
our understanding of the Mongozo and of the Mongozo is this: all decisions of the board are collective.
Yes.
Are collective.
Yeah.
There's no individual decision.
Yes.
If you are a member of the board, what is documented in the minutes of the board, that means is a collective decision. The board also, the board minutes also document dissenting opinions.
Yes.
But the ultimate resolution is a resolution of the board. So you cannot talk as if you hear them talk, especially Popa and Mwacharo, you will wonder, were they really part of the
board,
of that council?
It also says,
and even in their campaigns, you will see them say, you will hear them talk. Let me give my scorecard. When I was the chair of this committee. That's silo mentality. There's no scorecard of an individual board member.
Let me read this part. It's saying, clause 1.3i, that promote teamwork within the board and the organization. And it's further saying that they owe their duty to the organization and not to the appointing authority. So when you are coming and you tell members what was happening in the board, and you want to tell us that these are the members who elected me, now I owe them explanation or my dissent opinion. And then finally, they owe the organization a duty to hold in confidence all information available to them by virtue of their position as a board member.
Even Ariembi, when we are electing a chairman, a chairperson, and members of a council, we are not electing individuals here.
Yes.
You are either, if you go into that council, you are either a chairperson or you are a member.
Member of the council.
Exactly. Not an individual. Not an individual. So you cannot come out, talk to members, and then say this was my scorecard when I was the chair of this. So already it means you are working in silo. That
Yes.
teamwork,
That is what I've
is the
seen.
requirement of the Mongozo,
Yes.
that when you join a board or a council of an organization, of an agency,
Yes.
then it means you are working as a team.
As a team.
So these two, Dr. Popper and Diana Macharo, they have that silo mentality. They are selling themselves as Diana, and Popper is selling herself as
a Popper. Yes.
So members should be very cautious with this, because this shows clearly these are not joining that council as a team.
You know,
they are joining that council as individuals.
Now, Daktari, we're being told that council members were signing checks. That puts me to question. You are part of this council, yeah? That is, I mean, you are working as a collective body. Yeah. And by the way, you remember, when they were campaigning as Team JK, it is only a Popper who was not one of their members.
Exactly.
Yeah? The rest, to me, it was very possible for them to easily push any agenda. Yeah, as at that time. So right now we are being told that council members were signing checks. Ulikuwa wapi?
That's the point.
You are the one in charge of audit committee.
Yeah.
How was it approved in your presence? So we are not fools. Eh?
I've told you, Rembi,
yes.
if you hear these two talk, Dr. Popper and Diana Macharo,
yes.
They are talking as if they are not part and parcel of the council completely.
They could have resigned.
Completely. So I think if they are paid allowances,
yes.
can KSM recover those allowances?
They can recover.
Because if you hear them talk, they were not members of the council.
It's like they were not there.
The council was really dysfunctional.
And when you hear her saying, we kept on asking these questions to the leadership.
Who were you
as
asking?
if there was another entity called leadership.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah?
And you were in that.
And you were in that council. Whom did we elect?
In that council. So meaning they had already excluded themselves from
as part of the leadership of that council.
As part of the leadership of the KSM is the council.
So they were the problem.
They already excluded themselves from the leadership of the council. So if there were any allowances which they were being paid,
yes,
can KSM recover this?
You know, I like the way they cherry pick. Someone says that I did the disciplinary policy and codes of ethics. Fine. As an individual. So you are saying the good things I own.
Yeah.
The bad things are for the chair. Not even chair. Quote in quotes, the leadership.
Yeah.
I mean, please, this is a professional body.
Sure.
This is not the school of thought of UDA's meal.
So I simply want to caution members. These aspirants, as they campaign, please watch them and try to assess them and vet them.
Yes.
Because if it is somebody's character, that character...
it will still be the council.
It will still be in the council.
Yes. And it will pollute the others.
It will still be in the council. If you are a troublemaker, in this council, even in the other council, you will still bring trouble. If you work, if you don't work as a team, if you work in that silo mentality, then if it is your character, you will still continue that way. But you see, for us as members, we know the success, the challenges this fraternity is facing.
Yes.
We shall only succeed when the whole council works
together,
as a team, works as a team. But the way it is showing right now, then if we have these kind of characters in the council, then there's no future. There's no future for us as members. You know, so we need to sort out. We need to sort out as we vote. Please, let's sort out those bad cards, those bad pieces of beans, and let's remove them.
Yeah.
And especially those who are in the council, because we are seeing them. Someone coming to reveal very confidential information about the council or about your committee.
Is there a way they can be put to account, even if they make it to council or without?
What I'm saying is this: this behavior, first of all, according to public service ethics, is very, very wrong. It's very wrong.
Completely uncalled for.
Completely, according to Mongozo, is wrong. because all boards of parastatals, those are the highest decision-making organs in every agency, in all those agencies.
Yes.
Now, if you behave this way now, at that level,
yes,
can you be trusted? I don't think we can.
Because
we can trust you.
You see, when
you come to reveal information about your chair, the chair was behaving this way.
Okay, so not even your chair.
What did you do when you were sitting in that council?
You are board, which you are serving.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you are a member there.
You see, when you tell us of, we were having problems of unprocedural procurements. Who procures?
Yeah. And in fact, Diana says she was the chair
of audit committee.
Yes. So I know she will tell you we gave recommendations, but they were not followed.
No, she has said that.
When they were not followed, what were you doing in that council?
What were you doing?
You should have resigned.
You should have resigned.
You should have resigned.
Yeah. But you continue drawing allowances from the same council
until the end.
Yes.
Because you cannot tell us that there's so much pending bills which cannot be paid because the chair, because the leadership, she said the leadership, because the leadership was inviting friends in those procurement transactions, or probably some documents are missing, because these procurements were done procedurally. I mean,
and they tell you the profession is bleeding.
Yeah.
I mean, bleeding how? And you are the ones. You see,
the wrong direction.
You are in the same theater with the doctor.
Exactly.
Then you come out as the nurse and you tell us that the doctor was not taking us well. Yeah. And I think it was yesterday when I saw Diana saying that the institute is in ICU. The institute is in ICU. In a theater, and you are there. I mean, you are the nurse helping the doctor.
When the doctor wants a scalpel,
you are the one issuing.
You are the one who
members should flag these two.
These two openly.
They are these are very suspicious characters. If you find someone now revealing very confidential information about the board,
yes,
then there should be caution.
When we are being told about the recruitment of a CEO, I have the information that I'm privy to, which I can stand to. The first CEO that was recruited on contract basis was actually sent home.
Yeah.
And I know, and there were elements of sabotage of the council by that CEO. So I don't mind whether he was fired on rotation or what, but I think he deserved to be at home.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Then we brought in the registrar, who was made the acting CEO. Today, I've heard our brother Mohammed, I think he's Mohammed Noor, I think, is one of the aspirants in K3. And he's saying that today, Halifa, he's saying that today we have a lawyer who is our CEO. The lawyer who is there, she is just an acting CEO, but is the corporation secretary. Yeah, please don't make these members look like fools as if we don't know what is going on.
Sure.
Don't arouse emotions because you want to be elected. Stick to the point. Say what you want to do. Yeah, you're still a fresh candidate. Move straight and say, this is what I want to do. So right now the institute is operating on an acting CEO, who is the corporation's legal advisor, as that position is required for by Mongozo Code of Conduct. And once a CEO will be recruited, the lawyer will go back to her position of a corporation secretary. I mean, what is wrong with some of these? I think they are senior enough to know some of these things. Maybe they are looking for naive people to sell their agendas.
To get votes.
So it's a wake-up call to us members that we need to get to know.
We need to really
evaluate some of these
characters.
Yes.
Especially those who are in the council.
Yes.
Those who are in the council and they're running for the second time.
Yes.
For the second time.
You know, when I hear them saying that the chair has been walking up and down, earn allowances. I mean, SPMA has provided for the chair will be earning those allowances.
You know, RMB have told you, and there are some of the aspirants here, especially those who are in this council.
Yes.
In this council, the incumbent council, which is about to leave. Most of them, some of them look like they have no agenda.
Completely.
The agenda is to attack the chair, of the chair, probably to pick some sympathy votes for them to be elected. They have no agenda of
their own.
and some of them, especially those in
Three.
K3. So this is what I think we've gone through their
Manifestos.
their manifestos. The first K, which we are saying, those are things which don't even belong to the institute as a whole. And the second K, Menua.
Those ones have already been done by
Dr.
Karani.
Mai says about the CBD.
All of them have been done. There's nothing that has not been done. Yes.
Kism is established.
It's fully
I'm telling
operational.
You will see them. These are people who have no agenda.
Yes.
So the agenda for them to win election is just by attacking the incumbent.
The incumbent,
the incumbent chair, which is
to gain mileage.
to get mileage,
Yes.
which is not the fine. This is politics, of course.
Yes.
It's elections, but it's not the best way to
not the best way.
win an election
But yes.
or to propel our institute to higher levels.
I think as we come to a conclusion, I would like to, Dr. Mai to tell us something on corporate governance, which we've noted was completely lost in this council. And also tell us, did we elect these people to come and tell us how the secretariat is operating? Yeah? They have a mandate to take care of policy issues. Secretariat issues should not be brought to us to discuss, but they are busy discussing secretariat issues. Daktari.
Thank you, my brother Ariembi. In every institution, for example, at Kism, we have a governing council, and then we have a secretariat. Actually, board members or council members should not come to us as members to tell us that this is what the secretariat is failing to do, what. That shows lack of leadership and understanding corporate governance.
Yes.
Council members should concentrate on matters, policy, and then to steer the organization to longevity.
Yes.
By giving it good policies.
Yes.
And what can benefit members, because we have sent them there. They
Yes.
are our trustees at the council.
Yes.
Otherwise, each member of the institute can be able to go to the council, but now we have sent the 6 of them plus the chair. They should give secretariat an opportunity to do their work, operational work.
Yes.
As a member, just need I've made a request to get my license as Dr. Kevin Omai. Let it come.
Yes.
I have made a request to be registered. Let it come.
Yeah.
Efficient, effective operation service.
Yeah.
If it is the towers, they need to rent it out.
Let
Let
them
it be rented. They should not come to us telling us that you see we need the towers to be rented so the members can be able to benefit.
That is none of our
That is
business.
None of our business. My interest is to see a working institution. Operations are very effective. There is no corruption. Conflict of interest are at the minimum, and the council members are not held captive.
Yes.
Actually, the crooks and cartels have regrouped, and I have no regret for that. They have regrouped around the K3.
Yes.
Members be warned.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is what I can be able to say. Let segregation of responsibilities and the duties be there.
Be done.
Council Karani is doing his responsibilities as the chair. I wish he had the veto powers.
To pass vote of...
Yes, no confidence against the riparian.
Do you know we also had absentee council members?
The 2 of them.
Yes. They were always absent.
They were not there. Yeah, they were not there.
That's a topic for another
on
day.
Sundays. 40 meetings on Sundays. You see, he has got 52 weeks.
Yes.
And you are there present for 40 Sundays. That is so unfortunate.
Very unfortunate.
Yeah.
Thank you, Daktari. Maybe you can give us your closing remarks.
So, members, for the integrity, for the ethics, let's look forward. Elect leaders who have been tested. And it's good to put new leaders within the elected leaders, President Karani, for them.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
It's been nice engaging with you today.
Thank you.
Daktari, your closing remarks
Okay.
on this discussion today.
So, first of all, Ariembi, the secretariat, let's allow the secretariat independence to do their job. They have a CEO.
Yes.
They have a CEO. So let's not the council. Let not the council try to interfere so much with the secretariat. Maybe for the members, I'll tell them. Procurement is a critical function in this country.
Yes.
In this country, and KSM is one platform. Where all practitioners, at least we can be proud of it. We have a house, whether you're in the public sector or in the private sector. At least all practitioners. This is a professional body for all the members. Let's take these elections very, very serious.
Seriously.
Very, very serious. So let's vote in people. Let's vote in people who we are very, very sure have a high integrity, ethics, and people who should observe, people who believe in the rule of law. The rule of law. If you are a board member, there are requirements on how you are supposed to behave. Mongozo has given that.
Yes.
has given that. How you are supposed to behave as a council member, because that's the highest organ
Yes.
of KSM.
Yes.
So these people who are showing some queer characters, kindly
Should not have a chance.
don't give them a chance, because this institute is our. This institute through the council is our safeguard. So this is what I'll tell the members. Please vote wisely. Vote wisely. This council already, we can see from this campaign that there was some dysfunctionality within the council. Let's not allow it.
Yes.
Otherwise, as practitioners or in this fraternity, we shall suffer. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr.
Welcome.
Thank you. Members, we've come to the end of this session. Like we promised, we are going to dissect these manifestos. We've done the first one for K3. Tomorrow, we will do the one for Team JK. And probably if the independents also have a manifesto, we will look at it, each and every of them. Between now and Friday, we'll have discussed all of them. However, allow me say that it is important that you take keen interest in who you are going to elect in this council. We've seen what Dr. Ari has mentioned, the queer characters. Let us not give them a chance in our council, because when you talk about status quo, that is what we are going to elect again in our council. These people who are going to bring divisions in the council. It is our time to come up and vote correctly, vote the right candidates who are going to represent us. When someone tells us that he's going to put up a pool of councillors, tell that person we need a pool of consultants whom we can look for when we have issues. Today, we don't have a place where we can write our requests for advices. Kism should be that place. I urge you members, rise up above petty politics and let us do the right thing. Come 11th to 13th of January, vote the right candidates who are going to represent you at the strategic level of the council and the profession. Let us grow this profession together. May God bless you. My name is Kennedy Ariembi, and see you again in the next series of this session. Thank you.